Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to Uffsides, the NFL show, the only piece of NFL-related media that you can find on the internet.
That's it.
I'm Matt Ufford. With me today is Peter Schrager of FoxSports.com. Welcome, sir.
What's up, brother?
You are here because you are the single biggest nerd that I know about the NFL draft.
Love it. Love it. They called me a Trekkie for the NFL draft. I took it as an honorable statement. I loved it. That's a compliment. I love the NFL draft. There is no sporting event like it where there's actually no sports being played, but I can't stop watching it for 30 hours over a weekend. It was incredible this year. There were so many surprises, so many different storylines. There were no quarterbacks taken in the first 15 picks, and it was the most interesting draft we've ever had. I loved it. It was great. I loved it. It was awesome.
Your energy is almost infectious. I like the NFL draft. I'm not gaga over it, but yeah. I like it because I'm an NFL fan, and I want to see how teams are developing and who's moving up, who's going down, how my team's changing.
Yeah.
And it's like the only thing that we've got in the offseason.
That's basically it. That's it. It's like, and it's funny because I think TV ratings, the NFL draft just smacked around, I think, the NBA playoffs.
More people watched the first round of the NFL draft than NBA playoffs.
And the first player in the draft was named Eric Fisher out of Central Michigan. It wasn't like you had Andrew Luck or Joe Montana going first overall. It was a guy that most people had never seen play college football, but fascinating that it can do that. And I'm in Radio City for the 3 days, and the energy in that room, that is real. People want to knock the people that come out and sit in the bleachers and boo every pick or cheer every pick. That energy is real, and that line is roped around Radio City in New York City every year without a doubt. And this year, it lived up to the promise. It was great.
What was the craziest thing you saw? What fan like stood out to you as like who was?
I always love the jerseys. Like these people. Yes, there's going to be representatives from every team in the crowd, but I saw a Jeff Garcia Browns jersey. I mean, that's amazing. That is a relic, a relic. Someone had a Jamarcus Russell Raiders jersey, and I was like, I saw the guy, and he's wearing it, and he's got the whole Raiders guy, and got the Jamarcus Russell. I go, that's funny, and he didn't think it was funny. He was like, no, like he was one of our quarterbacks. Like this is the jersey I'm wearing. Like this is what it is.
I'm really hoping he makes that comeback.
He's gonna do it. I mean, there hasn't been enough media around that. As far as like the craziest reaction, I just love the Jet fan reaction. And this year was so unique because I feel like they were just so deflated. Like they wanted Tavon Austin. They wanted that guy. The Rams move up. The Rams take Tavon Austin one pick before them. The Jets draft D. Milner, who might be a nice cornerback, might be a replacement for Darrelle Revis. And the reaction by the fans was pretty much like, oh, okay. And then at 13, they took Sheldon Richardson. And the reaction again was, all right. There was no booing, no crazy reaction.
Yeah,
and I think we anticipated it.
And they've been kind of like perplexed.
Well, not even perplexed. They've been beaten down the last couple of years, these Jets fans. I mean, it's like nonstop, just one disappointment after another, whether it be Tebow, whether it be the way Sanchez played last year, whether it be the short-lived Greg McElroy era. Like, there is nothing that these Jets fans haven't seen in the last 12 months, and I think they just wanted something exciting, something to get pumped up about, and a cornerback and a pretty much, not the biggest name defensive tackle when you have 2 first-round picks isn't going to get the job done to rile up the fan base.
Yeah, I think let's talk about the Jets draft a little bit since we're on the subject.
Yeah.
What do you think of it? I mean, like I think D. Milner's you need to replace that cornerback. I think that's a good pick. I think shoring up the defense is good. I like the Geno Smith pick.
Yeah. 9th or 13th overall, I would not like the Geno Smith pick for the Jets.
No. But in the second
39th overall, it's intriguing. Now, I will say this. A lot of people were shocked by E.J. Manuel going to the Bills, but I met both those young men in the same time, at the same day, shook both their hands. E.J. Manuel, this is, people roll their eyes about, the intangibles and the presence. E.J. Manuel owns the room. This guy's like, I was the Florida State quarterback for 4 years. Here I am. I'm going to lead the team. Just a great kid. Geno Smith, now people will knock this. He doesn't have that that aura, that charisma. And I watched him in 2 cold weather games. It was at the Pinstripe Bowl where he laid a clunker against Syracuse in Yankee Stadium. And then I watched the Iowa State game recently, and that was in the cold, and he did not play well. So I wasn't shocked by Geno Smith dropping that far to the Jets. To me, it's the worst fit possible for the young man because there will be a media spotlight. And I think because of Dana Holgerson's offense that he worked out of, where he was never under center, never was in the huddle, he's going to struggle in year one. And they're going to want to see him go in, especially if Sanchez is back and is playing. They're going to want to see Geno Smith.
Yeah,
and
you want Geno Smith to develop under the leadership of Mark Sanchez.
Yeah, it's tough. Like everyone's saying, they roll their eyes, but like David Garrard's going to be the guy who's going to end up really teaching him. And I don't know if David Garrard's the guy you want teaching him either.
I like Garrard. I mean, obviously.
I love that for 2 minutes in, we're on a David Garrard conversation.
Hey,
it's good.
Did you watch the Dolphins Hard Knocks last year? Like, Garrard was a cool dude. He was brokenhearted.
He was upset when he got injured. Yeah. I mean, there were some things. But for Geno Smith, I think any other media market would have worked because I don't think he's ready to go year one. I could be proven wrong. I've said that about a lot of quarterbacks last year. I don't think Ryan Tannehill was ready to go, and he went 16 games and started all 16. So we'll see with Geno. But I think if you thought Sanchez Tebow was something that divided the fans in New York and kind of was a circus, I think if Sanchez is back, Geno Smith is going to, the first incomplete pass that Sanchez throws, if Geno Smith is sitting behind him, let's see the young kid. We've already seen enough of Sanchez. It's a lot of pressure on him.
I would like to see Garrard as the week one starter for the Jets.
Let's do it.
Yeah.
Let's do it. The David Garrard era. Let's go.
That's
35 years old, hasn't played since 2010. He should be the day one starter. I love it.
Yeah, he'll last like 4 weeks
That's
maybe.
Fine. That's fine. We get our fix. We can be satiated with our Garrard fix.
You brought something up about like talking about the guys that you've liked in the past, and I like revisiting guys that you've been high on. I know that last year, like, you were big on Vontaze Burfict,
undrafted,
and an impact player for the Bengals.
Yeah, I mean, Vontaze Burfict was one of the best players in college football for 3 seasons. So when he shows up to the draft and there's all these issues and fails a marijuana test and the combine stuff, he ran a 5.0 40 and goes undrafted. He's not one of the top 245 players in the draft. Sure enough, he starts opening day for the Bengals, starts all 16 games on the all-rookie team and had a fantastic season and kept his nose clean. Like, he was a really good foundation player for the Bengals. I always like when you can see a college player that, for whatever reason, has the character stuff and a team takes him on and he proves that he can do it. The other guy is Janoris Jenkins last year. Second-round pick of the Rams. I thought he was the best cornerback in the entire draft.
Impact player for the Rams.
Impact player. He slips to the second round. Why? Because he had children with multiple women. He had marijuana stuff. But if you put him in the right locker room, put him with the right coaches and the right veterans, you can get things straight. I like to see those guys succeed. I've also swung and missed on a lot of guys, and I've also said some guys won't be impact players, and they have been.
Like what?
Russell Wilson is the biggest mistake I've ever made in my career, and I will put that out there. I was very vocal that the Seahawks wasted a third-round pick on this guy who is too small, doesn't have a big enough arm, played behind a Wisconsin offensive line that was with 5 pros on there, so he was shielded by that. I thought Nick Toon, his receiver at Wisconsin, made him a much better player. Nick Toon. I didn't think Russell Wilson would ever see an NFL football field. And I rolled my eyes when all the pundits said, in the third round, he's such a leader. Like, he's 5'11", he's 5'10", he's going to get balls batted down at the line of scrimmage. I really underestimated him. I gave the Seahawks draft, your team, the Seahawks, that took Bruce Irvin in the first round, Bobby Wagner, who was a star at Utah State, and Russell Wilson in the third round, and Robert Turbin in the fourth. I gave that draft an F. And all 4 of those players were impact players, and I heard about it from Seahawks fans for 12 months, and I will gladly stand up and say I was wrong.
You deserved it. Although, I mean, like, I'm not without fault here too, because I was disappointed with Russell Wilson the first month of the season. I was like, bring on Matt Flynn.
Yeah, it's time, right?
And then he turned out to be awesome. The problem was not him understanding or adapting to the game. The problem was, like, letting him play.
And that was funny because Darrell Bevell, the offensive coordinator, at some point, maybe it was like week 8, when they beat the Bears, all of a sudden they had this new offense. And I think everyone was like, whoa. He's running the read option. He can throw the ball long. And then he was unstoppable. I mean, that Sunday night game where they beat the Niners, Russell Wilson was the best player in the entire league that night. I mean, He was unbelievable. So I think it's once you let the guy be him, that's great. And they were, to their credit, they adapted to his skill set instead of saying, this is our offense, fit in here, which is often the case.
So what do you think of the Seahawks draft this year? Christian Michael, they got Jesse Williams in the 5th round.
Yeah, Jesse Williams slipped. I guess he had knee injury problems, but none of the pundits saw that. I thought he was a first-round pick, so that's a great pickup. But the Seahawks draft is an A simply because you got Percy Harvin in the first round. I mean, there's no player. Maybe Tavon Austin will eventually be Percy Harvin, or maybe a little better, who knows, but when it's an arms race between the Niners and the Seahawks this offseason, to really say, all right, we're putting all our eggs in the basket and going and getting Percy Harvin, got to give that an A because he'll make an impact right away.
And the entire NFC West, like the Niners are frustratingly great at drafting.
The Niners had 13 picks. They traded up, got Eric Reid, who safety at LSU. Interesting story. Harbaugh really hotly recruited him when he was a high school kid in Louisiana. Didn't get him. when he was that coach at Stanford. 5 years later, he drafts him in the first round, trades up to get him. He's a fantastic player. And they just load it up. And it's scary when a team that good has 11 draft picks and gets guys like Tank Carradine and the players they brought in, Quentin Dial out of Alabama. I mean, these are going to be solid players, and they had an amazing offseason too.
And the Rams and Cardinals aren't slouches either. They had great drafts too.
NFC West is the power division right now. And the Rams have been like the sleeping giants because Jake Long, Jared Cook, and then to be so aggressive and get Tavon Austin. And the guy who is kind of like the perfect pick or the Jenkins pick last year is Alec Ogletree. Again, had a DUI before the combine, had marijuana stuff in college, had a 4-game suspension, but he was the best inside linebacker in the draft, and they got him 30th overall. Yeah. So Jeff Fisher over there, it's been Pac-Man Jones or Albert Hainsworth or Janoris Jenkins. He doesn't care. I mean, he's like, let's take these guys on and let's see if they can play because they're players. And this is one of those cases. The Rams quietly got very good this offseason.
Ugh.
I know.
Ugh, hate it.
I know.
What else? You're a Giants guy. How was their draft? I felt like they...
Solid.
I feel like it was
meat and potatoes.
Wasn't anything splashy, but they got their needs.
They loved their pick, Justin Pugh, 19th overall, and he was the kind of guy I compared him to like Chandler Jones last year in the draft, where you didn't hear anything about Justin Pugh. Then suddenly, a couple days before the draft, you're hearing, oh, he's a top 20 pick. He was that guy. Giants got him. I'm sure you saw the YouTube video of him celebrating with his friends when he got there. I mean, that's just awesome. And then they also got in the second round a guy named Jonathan Hankins, just a big defensive tackle at Ohio State. In the third round, they got a kid named Demontre Moore, who put up double-digit sacks at Texas A&M. He's only 20 years old. This will make you feel old. He was born in 1992. Ugh. And the questions were, hey, he didn't perform well at the combine. He wasn't good at his pro day. But look, he's going to be working with Justin Tuck, Jason Pierre-Paul, Matthias Kiwanuka, and the Giants seem to find a way to make these pass rushers pretty
defensive
good.
ends. I made a joke about it, but I was kind of serious too. I was like, the Giants boring draft, but they probably got an all-pro defensive end.
That's it. And look, this guy went up against Luke Jokel and Jake Matthews, who's going to probably be a top 5 pick next year every day in practice at Texas A&M. So he'll be pretty solid, I think. Maybe not right away, but the Giants, I gave him a B just because there was nothing splashy, but this is what they do.
Yeah. 1 through 5, who had the best draft just off the top of your head?
1 through 5. I like the 2 offensive tackles. The Jaguars, to me, getting Luke Jokel at number 2 was smart. And I think everyone wanted to see the Jaguars do something stupid or go nuts and draft a quarterback, but the Jaguars have a long-term plan, and I like the fact that they built this team like your Seattle Seahawks. Gus Bradley, that was the old defensive coordinator in Seattle. It seems like there's some of that, and there's also some of the Atlanta Falcons way they build teams with Dave Caldwell, the GM. So they got Jokel 2nd overall, and then in the 2nd round, they got some guy, they traded back, whatever. They got some guys that can make help. So John Cyprian's going to be a starting safety in this league. Then you also got Dwayne Gratz. And then the third day, Ace Sanders, Denard Robinson. I like what the Jaguars
speedy playmakers.
They did what they did, and then, which is interesting, everyone said, oh, well, they don't have a quarterback. Blaine Gabbert can't be the quarterback. They waited the whole draft out, and then they signed as undrafted free agents Matt Scott out of Arizona, who I saw being rumored as a 3rd-round pick, and also Jordan Rodgers out of Vanderbilt, who's Aaron Rodgers' little brother, and people think he can be a player. So this is what the Seahawks did under Pete Carroll and Gus Bradley. They brought undrafted guys in. Brandon Browner came from the CFL. Yep. Let's challenge them for spots. Let's see if these guys can compete with veterans. Jaguars are going to do that. So long-term, I like what the Jaguars did. And then I'm not sure I'm with the Deion Jordan pick with the Dolphins. I know he was a guest on this show, I believe, last week.
Yeah, for just a quick break here. For those who watched last week's show, man, sorry. That was dry.
It's tough. Look, when you have one of these prospects in before they're drafted, they have millions to gain. They have nothing to gain. They just need to be quiet, so they're not always the best interviews.
No, that was
you did your best. I watched it.
That's kind of you.
Yeah, no, but Deion Jordan, I don't know. I liked Ziggy Ansah, and I actually like Barkevious Mingo more than him. So for them to trade up so many picks to number 3 to get Deion Jordan, who I'm not sure is an impact player right away. Again, I'll be proven wrong, just like I was with Russell Wilson. But I didn't understand the Dolphins draft.
Let's see. Who had a disappointing draft? What teams were you just scratching your head about?
Yeah, the Dallas Cowboys. And again, caution because we don't know everything. Maybe they had a different grade on the guy. But Travis Frederick, their 1st-round pick, they traded back. They only got a 3rd-round pick. They traded back 12 spots, which made no sense to only pick up a 3rd-rounder. You might as well draft the best player on the board at 18 where they were. And then they took Travis Frederick, who's a center out of Wisconsin. He'll play right away, and he's a smart player, and he's a good player. But they probably could have waited on him.
He's got a great beard.
Great beard. Not a bad beard at all. They trade back to get him. He's going to be a center and a guard. And then they took in the 2nd round a guy named Gavin Escobar, cool name, out of San Diego State. But he's a project. He only started 11 games at San Diego State. Didn't really do that much. Had a couple touchdown receptions last year. It seems like a project. And when you have Jason Witten, who doesn't seem to be showing his age, is that really the most pressing need? They gave Tony Romo 6 years, $108 million contract extension. I would have liked to have seen them maybe pick up some more playmakers. I don't know. Just the board. I mean, that's what everyone talks about, the board. Where'd they get this guy, and where is he valued by other teams? And I know for a fact Travis Frederick was not a first-round pick on many boards.
Yeah, I know that the Jerry Jones explained it as all their first 3 picks were all kind of like on around 20 on their board.
They had a different board. Look, they might have a different board. They've picked up guys in the past in late rounds, DeMarco Murray, some other guys that have slipped and have been very good when they're healthy. So maybe we should just trust the process. But if you're 8-8 every season, with that,
maybe your owner shouldn't be your general manager.
It's another issue.
Yeah, I don't like it. We had a discussion on Twitter.
Twitter fight.
No, it was not a fight at all. But I think that the people who attended, the fans attending the draft on the second and third day, are unhinged lunatics.
You are an elitist snob. But go on.
No, I just have better things to do with my weekend. Well, I mean, I say that, but I was here working and watching it.
Come on.
But that's because I had to.
Yeah, come on. Look,
if it was up to me, I would just watch the first round and then kind of like check up on Twitter, maybe tune in for a little bit here and there on the second and third days. I'm not gonna go to Radio City Music Hall to watch every.
Wait online all day Wednesday.
No.
To get tickets, and then go Thursday, then go Friday, then show up on the most beautiful Saturday afternoon in New York City's history, maybe, and sit in dark and dingy Radio City Music Hall from 12 o'clock to 6 o'clock. People do it, and I love that about them because I would do the same exact thing if I wasn't working for it. I really would, and I did it before I worked in this stuff. I love the draft, and I love the dedication, and what I wrote to you was, we have people on Twitter who tweet nonstop from South by Southwest, day 6. Oh my God, I saw this indie band, and everyone's okay with that. Or they go to Comic-Con and they say, oh my God, I just saw the new Buffy the Vampire Slayer trailer.
See, I don't care about that.
And it's awesome. Either. And everyone's like, oh, well, that's cool. It's nerd culture. Nerd culture's cool again, like the whole thing. No, this is the same thing. There's nothing wrong with it. Look, if you write a 4,000-word article about the Sundance Music Festival or the parties you went to, there's no difference than someone sitting for 3 days at the NFL draft because that's their thing. Yes, it's maybe a little nerdy or whatever you want to call it, but that is awesome, and that is a hobby, and these are diehards, and I so appreciate it, and I love the fact they come out.
I would say this. I think that if you're going to a music festival where the bands that you love are playing music on stage, that's a better product than with a third pick in the draft select.
I don't know. The joy that watching some crappy indie band play their acoustic version of a Van Morrison song that you might get, someone might get from seeing, oh my God, we drafted David Amerson out of North Carolina State and we got him in the 3rd round. Like, how cool is that?
See, for me, the product is not, it's just names being read. And the prospects, the excitement for the future excitement, that's good.
No.
But it's not the same thing as a discussion, as a back and forth, as a witnessing a performance.
I'll give you a true diehard fan. I was leaving day 3 and I saw a Browns fan who stayed the whole day. And the Browns this draft made a 1st-round pick, Barkevius Mingo, and then didn't have a 2nd-rounder because they got Josh Gordon in the supplemental draft. Made a 3rd-round pick who was a cornerback, and then they just traded a bunch of picks for future picks. I mean, there was not much to really celebrate if you were a Browns fan. Like, it's a long-term thing. So I went up to him and I'm like, what'd you think of the draft? And this guy was a diehard fan. It was the guy with the Jeff Garcia Browns jersey. And this guy had it all written down, and he was like, amazing weekend. I'm like, really? He's like, we're set for the future. Look, we got a 3rd-round pick in 2014. We got a 3rd-round pick in 2015. We are set. I love what we did. And I'm like, that is a diehard, because you made the trip. And he said he was from Ohio. Trip to New York. They didn't do anything splashy. They built for the future, and this guy still loved the draft, and I love that.
I appreciate that. It's just, that's not for me.
All right, but like, if someone goes to the New York Auto Show and walks around and tweets about it nonstop, and a car lover would do that.
Dude, I just set up the filter. Again, like, I don't have a problem with people tweeting about the NFL draft. It's like the actual going and being a fan when it's a beautiful day outside is too much for me.
I don't know. To me, to see the South by Southwest day 11 after you haven't showered to go see LL Cool J perform at 3 a.m, like, I just don't see a value in that either. Then to tweet about that like it was the greatest mind-blowing experience of your life.
Global filter, all tweets, #SXXSW.
Just get rid of it, right?
I just filter that out.
It's like such the whole South by Southwest thing never ended this year.
Oh my God.
And it was when is it? It's during February?
Yes, it was 3 months long.
And it never ended. And I remember wanting to like just be done with it, but people were still writing articles.
Well, there's like a tech week, there's a music week, there's a movie week, and it's just like, what? Okay, I get it. Austin has good tacos, but I'm not like, I don't need to like don't need every single picture of a taco ever taken.
But in like
on
the
my
circles
feed.
we roll with, like that's okay if someone writes a 5,000 word article about this performance they saw from so no name brand. But if I was to write a 5,000 word article,
I would probably read it
on a 7th round pick from another country. Like people might say, okay, you're a little bit too into it, and like relax. Well, no, it's fun. It's awesome.
I think that there are plenty of people like us that don't like all that coverage of South by Southwest and whatever music festivals. Coachella was last weekend or whatever, 2 weekends
Is that
ago.
over yet, or is that still going on?
It was originally, I went to Coachella like 7 or 8 years ago.
Yeah.
Before it was cool. But it was 2 nights. It was.
What was the biggest band that you saw at that festival?
It was the Pixies reunited.
Okay,
and
that's
good.
good.
They were freaking amazing.
Awesome.
Radiohead was headlined the other night. The Cure. That was back when. It was a long time ago.
Yeah.
But it was 2 nights, and then it became 3 nights, and then it became 2 weekends.
It's still going on, I think. Coachella. The NFL draft is just 3 days. It's never going to be much longer. It used to be 2 days. I'm okay with the NFL draft.
Yeah. No. Okay. So we're good on the draft. I want to talk about. Can we get the picture of Andy Reid? I want to.
Yeah. This was a good one. Chillin'.
This is via our Chiefs blog, Arrowhead Pride. He's talking about.
That's amazing.
He says, "You know what? Over on the plaza in Kansas City, there's a Tommy Bahama shop." Reid told the program's Soren Petra on Monday. "There's a lady over there who took care of me, the manager of the store over there. She heard the story about Tommy Bahama shirts, and she sent that one over to me without any fanfare or anything."
There's so much to love about. First, the Gatorade bottle. Like, it's still sponsored by Gatorade. Like, that outfit and that thing. I'll tell you my best Andy Reid story from the last couple of months. Now, he's in Kansas City. He seems different, I swear. It sounds ridiculous, but I got to talk to him at the Combine a bit.
Well, he doesn't have batteries thrown at him anymore.
It's true. He just seems like he's a happier guy. And it was 2 a.m. No, that's wrong. Probably midnight at the Combine in Indianapolis. And everyone goes to these different bars. There's one called St. Elmo's, one called Moe's, and it's kind of like it's a big schmooze fest. You go at these things, and coaches are hanging out, GMs are hanging out, and I saw Andy Reid, and I loved it. At around midnight, and he was walking down the street and just came right into, what's it, Shake and Shake? What's that thing called?
Steak and Shake.
Steak and Shake. And I'm like, I love Andy Reid. Everyone else is going to these bars to schmooze, and he was just walking. People, it's a packed, Steak and Shake fast food restaurant, and Andy Reid at midnight was like, yeah, I'm going to Steak and Shake. I loved it.
The other thing he said about the Tommy Bahama shirt, you wear them and you can hide cheeseburgers underneath, and no one will ever know. He's probably joking, but not.
Is this a new Andy Reid? Because for 14 years as an Eagles guy, he wasn't the best press conference. He wasn't the best interview. I feel like this might be a new era.
Hawaiian
of
shirt.
Andy Reid. Like, it's cool. I like
big
this.
fat party animal.
Like, let's
coach.
do it. We
Yeah.
had the worst team in the league last year. There's nothing to lose. Let's just go win some games. I like it.
We're going to go to the troll bag. We got a couple tweets. The first one from... there we are. Jared Michael said, "Did the Niners have the best draft ever or the bestest draft ever?"
It was hard to screw the draft up because they traded Alex Smith and got the 2nd pick in the second round, whatever.
Yeah.
And then they just continued to pile up picks. I don't know if they had the bestest draft. I gave them an A because they picked up guys who can help right away. But, everyone was celebrating the Marcus Lattimore pick. I'm not sure if he ever plays in the NFL. I mean, he's coming back from a knee injury. They took a bunch of guys.
I think they got him at a good spot, though. I think that it's not exciting that they got Marcus Lattimore, it's that they got him in the 5th or 6th round.
Yes, and they have the luxury to store him there for a year if they need to because they have so much other talent.
Yeah.
So a GM told me at the owners' meetings in Arizona that this draft is going to be the San Francisco 49ers Invitational because they had 14 picks and they traded them all around. But yes, when you're good, the rich got richer, and when you're good, you can do that. And they've built an amazing team, and this draft was very good.
Clue Haywood tweeted, "Can you evaluate each team's draft using letter grades just like school? That helps me understand because I remember school."
It is funny. And it's like they ask us for those, and you roll your eyes, or someone might say, this is so wrong, but nothing gets more page views than grading the draft. So it's like it's a science. And I was laughing with a guy who not all viewers might love, Pete Prisco, one of my favorite people in the world.
I like Pete Prisco, okay.
He'll just say it like it is. And he tweeted at me, "What grade did you give the Cowboys?" And I wrote back a C. What'd you give them? And then someone who was watching our back and forth goes, writes back and says, "Who gives an S?" Like no one cares. Like, why don't you guys shut up? And Prisco said, "You do because you'll click on the article."
Oh.
Everyone loves it because you're not going to sit down there for 3 days.
You have 2 reactions to it. You're like, I don't want to read the draft. I want to read draft grades, and you go because you just want to see an A for your team. And then if it's a bad grade, you're like, I disagree. You're wrong. You're an idiot.
And I'll tell you, it's funny. The GMs before the draft do not want to read mock drafts. They don't care. Like, they genuinely don't care. I spoke to Ozzie Newsome, I guess, 2 weeks before the draft, and I said, I'm doing a mock draft. Here's what I have you think. He goes, "Oh, stop. I don't care, and none of us care what you have us taking. I'm like, oh, and I like kind of tail between the legs, like walking around. They've got a whole scouting department. But I'll tell you this, and it wasn't the Ravens. An NFL GM did text me on Monday morning and said, so, B, huh? And they read it too. Look, they read it. The fans take a liking to it, and it really sets the tone for the offseason. What pundits and guys like us think, because we love the draft and we know the players. So why are we so far off than the board? And I gave out a lot of A's this year because I just felt like teams did really well. I was increasingly positive.
I feel like there aren't, like, you can't even rely on the Raiders to be complete boneheads
the Raiders
anymore.
did great. I gave them an A this year.
Yeah,
and like that's never
the Raiders, the Jaguars,
even
the Browns, even the Browns.
Browns did it smart. They did it very Belichickian. And actually, the Patriots I gave a C.
Really?
Which, because Patriots fans were like, oh, whoever, who are you? And I'm like, well, I just think that Tom Brady's 35 years old. He's got so many years left. You can't just always say, let's load up for the draft in 2017. They had a first-round pick. They traded back. They ended up getting 2 projects in Dobson out of Marshall and Josh Boyce out of TCU. Those aren't wide receivers that are going to play right away. Tom Brady can't throw the deep ball as well as it used to. This is his time, and they didn't get him a wide receiver, and I just thought that was a mistake.
Ooh.
Hey, hot sports take.
Yeah. I like it. No, but that we had Nick Stevens on our show on Thursday night, and he called it. He was like, we're not even picking tonight. We're going to trade back for more picks. It's like what they do every single year.
But at what time? I mean, they haven't won a Super Bowl in 8 years. They're always on the cusp. But
they only go to the Super Bowl and lose.
Look, they got rid of Woodhead. They got rid of Welker, obviously. They brought back Edelman. Deion Branch no longer there. Brandon Lloyd. The list can go on. Gronkowski, who knows what's going on with his injury. I thought maybe you might want to take a first-round pick on offense. Maybe. Just give it a shot. See what you can get, because they never do.
But I don't think that the first round had real playmakers, aside from Tavon Austin. Like, all the playmaking running backs, receivers kind of went in the second and third round.
I think Cordarrelle Patterson could have been a good player for them. I think Robert Woods might have been a nice pick. They had options there.
I saw plenty of people that thought Cordarrelle Patterson wasn't even the best wide receiver on his team.
Yeah, no, Justin Hunter and Derek Rogers were also rated very high. Rogers went undrafted. Goes to the Bills, had some issues off the field, and that'll cost you. But Patterson's going to be good, and the Texans, that's the right fit. I'm sorry, he didn't go to the Texans, but the Vikings, that's the right fit. He's going to be very good. DeAndre Hopkins, the nuke, he went to the Vikings. I like him a lot. He torched LSU, torched Auburn, and he was a part of Feces Gate. Do you know what Feces Gate is?
I do, but let's recount it.
Feces Gate. I don't even know that Rutgers kid's name offhand. I wish I did. That's embarrassing. Harrison, I think, the receiver. 2 kids at the combine, had a room, and everyone leaves the combine, and on Wednesday they come in, and there's feces on the wall. The room is trashed, and the room belonged to Hopkins, who ended up being the first-round pick of the Texans. And this gentleman, Harrison, who went undrafted, I think he's with the Bears, signed as a free agent. And, the reaction right away was, okay, we have 2 players. We're not going to release the names. Schefter got the name, said that's who it belonged to, came out, and then there was this vehement, this vitriol of everyone saying, whoa, it wasn't them, though. Like, someone snuck in, and there was a conspiracy, so I was calling it.
People are always sneaking in and wiping shit on the wall.
I was calling it Feces Gate, and it caught on. There was a hashtag Feces Gate, and then the second he was drafted, it was just, oh my God, Feces Gate. Doesn't even matter. He still goes first round. From what everyone I spoke to says, this kid is an amazing kid, and there's no way he would take a crap and wipe it on the walls. So, Texans fans, rest assured, you got a good kid. He's not a feces smear. Or so we think. There's still, it's an open book, that case. Someday ESPN will do a 30 for 30 on Feces Gate, and we'll know who really was at.
I look forward to it. We're going to close the show with, we haven't talked about Tim Tebow yet. I'm happy about that. But we've got a fun thing. Are you familiar with the NMA animation, the Taiwanese animation that they did?
Oh, yeah. I saw that.
They did one for Tebow. We got a couple seconds.
The Tiger Woods one was the big one, right? That took off?
Yeah, we got a couple of seconds of it if we can watch it on the monitor.
Whoa, what?
Tim Tebow, he doesn't like Jews, apparently. And I love this. Oh my God! That's about the most accurate portrayal of Tebow's throwing motion I think I've ever seen. But no, you said that he's not going to the Jaguars because they're trying to make themselves a respectable organization.
Yeah. Jags are not. I mean, they're not looking to take on a sideshow. When maybe the old leadership, the old ownership, might have wanted this for the gate, but knowing what they've got there, Dave Caldwell, and what they've got in Shad Khan as the owner, they're going to change their uniform. They're going to try to play a different style, but they're not going to bring in a sideshow. This is not what they want. They're trying to build for the long term, be actual real franchise. The Bears were rumored because Mark Trestman, the head coach of the Bears, worked with Tebow before the 2010 draft and also owned Tebow's CFL rights when he was the coach of the Montreal Alouettes. Yeah. Matt Cavanaugh, the quarterback coach of the Bears, also was the quarterback coach of the Jets last year. So there was a lot of links there. Jay Cutler does not need Tim Tebow behind him. There will be no need for that circus. And the other link that I heard a lot of was the Patriots, because Bill Belichick for years would just take Urban Meyer players in the draft. It was Jermaine Cunningham, it was Brandon Spikes, it was Aaron Hernandez. I don't think Tom Brady wants Tim Tebow on his depth chart. I don't think he wants to deal with that either.
No.
They're in win now mode, and I'm not sure Tebow does that. So, CFL, right? Everyone talks about, okay, well, then the Canadian League. Talk to a lot of guys who have connections to the Canadian League. His game does not fit the Canadian League.
No, it's a bigger field.
It's a bigger field,
speed.
A huge passing game. He's not an accurate passer, and his running style is up the gut for 5 yards. Doug Flutie, Jeff Garcia, all these successful CFL quarterbacks ran around the outside and did sprints. So the Arena League, the Orlando Predators, the owner said, hey, the contract's waiting. I think it sounds ridiculous, but I don't know where this Tebow's going to go, and we might see him on the Arena League.
I look forward to a day when he is not part of our daily dose of media news. Like, I just don't want to hear about him.
Jason Collins really knocked Tim Tebow off the ESPN pedestal
Thank you,
yesterday.
Jason Collins. That was much appreciated. I really like that. Peter, it's been great having you on. It's
Matt,
so much fun. Please do follow Pete on Twitter. At P Schrags.
PSCHRAGS. We go back and forth a lot. He likes music festivals and going to the desert and just chilling out.
You're a liar.
I like football. So yeah,
the real man, the pundit. You can also see foxsports.com. Yeah. He is come the fall. You will see him on the
bottom
ticker.
line ticker.
You are all over the ticker, man.
Love the ticker.
Also GQ.com occasionally. Yeah. We're brothers in arms there now.
Love
occasionally.
That. Your stuff's been great.
Thank you. Well, anyway, please do subscribe to the Uffsides podcast on iTunes. You can get it as a video, as audio. This is on YouTube. It's not just live, people. You can see us all the time. So thank you.
For all your Feces Gate news, yeah.
For all your Feces Gate news and just NFL talk. Until next time, we'll see you next week. This has been Uffsides.